Hiya, this is Matt here from the Yoga Hub, and I'm joined in this Google Hangout with Jeanne Heileman. Hi, Jeanne.
Hi, Matt.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Yes, and we wanted to go through some things before Jeanne arrived with us for the second time. Yeah, Jeanne was here with us in June of last year. And we just can't wait to have you back. And we thought it would be a fantastic idea at the Yoga Hub to let our students know a little bit more about Jeanne and what she offers at, I should look at the camera, at her workshops. So let's start with Jeanne Heileman and how you found yoga.
Oh, wow. Very deep, Matt. I found yoga in my early 20s when I was in theater school, and I was taking some training in San Francisco, and it's a very physical training, and we had a tap class, we had a ballet class, we had hand-to-hand combat fencing. We had a bunch of different things, and one of the classes was yoga, because for actors, yoga is really good to make space because the actor's body is their utensil. And what I loved, coming from dance background and theater background, and there's a lot of jealousy, and there's a lot of like, oh, so-and-so should not be cast in that role. I can't see that person cast in that role at all. Or, oh, you're not a good dancer, etc. In yoga, we were told to close our eyes and look inward. And for me, it was the one place where I felt I was at home and I was fully accepted. And it was so different to start to look inward instead of constantly worrying about the outside. And I immediately was like, this is what I'm doing forever. So I kept taking classes wherever I went. And I did that for about 11 years before I took my first teacher training, which was in 1996.
Yeah, and I'd like to ask about some of your teachers, Jeanne.
Sure. This is Sadie.
There you
She's
go.
one of my teachers. There you go. Perfect timing. Thank you. She is well, it actually is true. I didn't rescue her. My neighbors found her, and she was starving. She was 1/3 her size, abandoned, abused, part feral, and everything. And when I first got her, she wasn't socialized, so you couldn't pet her. She would hiss and everything. And so she teaches me. I've had her for almost 10 years. She teaches me to love the people who are difficult, because, you know, I just kept loving her. And she will hiss and she'll howl, and even now if I pick her up, she doesn't like to be picked up. She doesn't like it, but, you know, we don't like things because we're not familiar with them. She wasn't familiar with being cared for. Now she'll let me pet her when she's in the mood. And she doesn't yell at me when I feed her. And so she really is, you know, she had good timing. My more familiar yoga teachers, the one who sort of changed the way I went about my practice and went more towards Tantra is Rod Stryker. And he teaches so much that's happening in the pose. And this was around the time I had already been practicing for like 15 years or so. And I was feeling like, okay, now what? You know, and because I was doing some of the strong postures, and, you know, they're on my website. They've been done. Hari Om. But it was like, and then what? And I also knew I wanted to learn more about the philosophy. I wanted help in meditation because I was struggling with it. And so when I really started working with Rod, he blended asana, because at the time John Friend was very popular and Gary Kraftsow was very popular. And I'd studied a lot with Gary, and I was starting to study with John, and one of his main teachers, Desiree Rumbaugh, who's like my big sister, who is my big sister in yoga. And And Rod blended that, plus he added all this other stuff, like the chakras and everything. And I was like, all right, that's it. That's my teacher. And so what I do is I try to teach a fun, strong asana class with a lot, like today I taught back bends, and we did a lot of Ustrasana because a lot of people don't do it. It's hard. It can hurt your back. And we did a lot of Ustrasana, and I focused on, so it was asana because I focused on one piece of alignment I wove throughout the whole class. And I also used pranayama, and I used awareness of other things going on. And, we always close with an essence of a meditation. There's so much more going on than just the asana. Of course, my phone's going to ring right now. We'll just ignore it. Sorry.
Yeah. First to cast. Okay, so, I'm just... I'm so excited to see you again in person. First off, I must say, and my experience of bringing teachers here to Dublin, as you know, only started last year, and it started in, I think, March, and because I'm crazy, I brought a teacher every to December. So we had such a fantastic cross section of teachers here from March through June when you were here and onwards. And I have to say, and as you know, and as I've told you when we started to talk about arranging for you to come here this year, I've heard your name so many times this year, and it's always, when's Jeanne coming back? When's Jeanne coming back? When's Jeanne coming back? And for many different reasons. And yeah, and the one question I want to ask you is, as a teacher, as practicing yoga, or as a yoga teacher, your practice changes, and when your practice changes, so does your teaching. What can we expect this year?
More jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we're doing a back bend practice, and so, well, let's go back to your question. What? I don't know. I think, I don't know that I can articulate it. As I'm getting ready to embark on this journey, I leave in almost 48 hours, and I'm visiting a bunch of other places prior. I'm seeing you guys on the very end of the trip. As I'm getting ready, because I'm going to be teaching a training in Spain, I'm getting my head into that stuff, and I'm finding that my teaching in LA is getting juicier. And of course, my students, and even I am like, oh, I hate it when that happens. Now I leave when I'm juicy. And the students are like, oh, this sucks. We're happy for you, but this sucks. So I think it'll be a little juicier. And some of the workshops we're doing are somewhat similar to what we've done that I did last visit. A few are. And I'm going to tweak them and bring in some different poses. And it sounds like you guys are getting more sophisticated with your practice, so I may bring in some fun, challenging poses. But again, it's not just going to be asana.
I have to ask Jeanne, because I'm sure everyone watching will be wondering, who did the workshop suit? A problem that we have is a lack of confidence. Students think that workshops they're only for yoga teachers, or they're only for people practicing for the last 15 million years. So could you share who it suits?
If someone has been practicing fairly steadily for about 6 months and they're feeling pretty safe, come to a workshop. You'll be fine. This core workshop, the Radiance of Fire, it scares people sometimes because They think, oh God, 3 hours of abdominals. And it's not going to be 3 hours of abdominals. What's interesting about that one is that pranayama is woven into the practice. Because usually we do pranayama at the end. It's more of an Iyengar way. Or sometimes with the Shivananda way, you do it in the beginning. In this, I weave it in throughout the whole practice. And the core is not just the front. It's the circumference. And it's not about getting a six-pack abs. I don't have six-pack abs. But it's more about the muscles that support this, the spine, the vertebrae. And so that is, and it's more about, can you walk out and whatever is happening with the economy and with your relationships and with your, you know, whatever, and can you be okay? What I found when I started taking workshops before I did my first teacher training, I really was, first of all, it's really cool to meet different teachers and see so many different perspectives and different bodies. I remember walking in, and it was, I think I can say this without offending anyone, it was Adil Palkival, and he's an amazing senior Iyengar teacher. And he walked in, and he was this kind of rotund man, and I was really skinny, and I was hardcore into the outer form of the practice. And I saw him, and I was like, you don't even know yoga. And first pose out of the bat was Pravarita Trikonasana, twisted triangle. And I was in this whole, oh my God, no, my outfit isn't ready. I don't have, I'm not ready for twisted triangle. You haven't prepared me. And the guy whipped it out, and it taught me. So I learned something completely new from him. And I had huge respect. I learned very quickly. He and Judith Lassiter never decide a yogi by their outer body. And it's more, when I studied with Rodney Yee, it was like, wow, I'd never explored my sacrum before. And then for weeks after that, when I would take regular classes, I was using that information from Rodney. So if you're interested in, certainly I hope some teachers will come because I'm going to offer things to raise their bar. But for anyone who's been taking yoga 6 months steadily or a year, and you're feeling like you can do Trikonasana and you can hold plank somewhat, I'm going to help you. But if it's more to understand, get a new spin, or not necessarily a spin, but just get new insight. And the intention is that stuff will stay with you once I go home, and your practice is just, it's adding more color. So is that helping?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just gonna add that to anyone watching, we agreed before we started to broadcast that to ask a question, because the problem with this Hangout thing is that if we talk over each other, it begins to freeze. So when I want to ask a question, I namaste. So it's working out quite well. That was absolutely super, and while we talk, I'm just getting so excited about your upcoming trip here, and you're so kind to give me the time so that we can do this now, Jeanne. I'm so thankful for it, and I have to say that it's even listening to you now as a teacher myself. I'm learning from you, and with the amount of knowledge you have and learning, I have never experienced a yoga teacher to name off so many of their teachers. That I'm just going to leave that one there. I'm going to leave that one there. Take from that what you will. But yes, and I think we've covered. I think you have a lot of packing to do. And if anyone, and I might add just to anyone listening, that if they have any questions that they'd like to ask Jeanne once she arrives, I think we can do an interview at the studio as well. So I think if there's anything you'd like to add.
If anybody would like to ask any questions before I come, email me. And you can, Matt, you'll give them my website, and ask any questions if you're not sure. If you have any injuries and you're not sure about doing one of the workshops, let me know. And I will sincerely and honestly say, you know, yes, you can come, or you know what, don't do this workshop because it's going to be too much in the shoulder, and if you've got a shoulder injury, let's not even go there. But you'll be fine here. I'm not into having everybody come to fill my ego. I want to come and be of service.
Yeah.
And let's have some fun. We laugh. So let's laugh. And let's laugh and open our hearts and connect.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
I cannot wait, Jeanne Heileman. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Can't wait to see you, Matt.
Yeah, I'll see you. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, and I will talk to you over the Facebook message, okay?
Bye, y'all.
Namaste.
Namaste, Hariom.